Hello friends! I got a very interesting story for you guys because probably 100% of you are not allergic to plums. Okay, so this is a story about how I found out I'm allergic to plums. Now, not extremely deathly allergic, but if I have enough of a plum product, I will be hospitalized. And growing up, I was a picky eater. I'm kind of growing out of it now. But I would simply be like, oh, that's a purple plant. I will not eat it. So therefore, I had never had a plum or a plum product until last year of when this incident happened. So then I wouldn't know if I had an allergy to plums because I was too picky to even bother with plums. Now, alright, some background to who I am as a person. During this pandemic of my life, I was at a LARPing event that is mostly geared towards like the realm of Daggerhair and Hearthlight. This LARPing event is in the middle of the woods in Pennsylvania, and it lasts about a week and you stay in tents. So then I'm in the middle of the woods, and you know, at LARPing events, you drink alcohol. And as soon as me and my girl Karaki had the chance, she's like, yo Ishtar, which is my fighting name, so hopefully you don't get that mixed up. She slaps a bottle of plum wine on the table, she pops that cork off, and she's like, let's get started. Like, you know, we're not gonna have, like, you know, sunshine all day. And I'm like, you're right, let's get started. So then as soon as I put my garb on, I'm like, yo, let's go for an adventure in the woods, and let's start drinking this plum wine. And for whatever reason, we were really obsessed with trying plum wine once we got to this event. And I'm not sure what possessed us. I forget what happened or led up to this event of we needed to drink plum wine at this, like, the biggest event of the year. But we had to be there. So we're goofing off in the woods and we're feeling it. We're having a good time. We're running around and we're just goofing. And eventually it starts to just torrential downpour. It's time to rain. And, like, you know, this plum wine, it's feeling pretty good. Got us, like, where we wanted to be very quickly. So we run back to camp and we're like, like, you know. And then everyone that's supposed to be there is there. Everyone that, like, all my friends from New York City was there. They're setting up their tents. And then I'm like, my friends! And I run up to them. I don't hug them. I don't exactly greet them. But I just spin around. I'm spinning like an excited, like, greyhound. And I'm like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you guys so much. I'm crying. And they're just watching me like, she really gonna do this? But, like, sorry everybody. I was excited to see you guys. Hours go by. I'm still drinking this plum wine. She had half the plum wine. I had half the plum wine. And I start to feel awful. Like, and then I'm like, did I drink too much? So the next moment, I'm having a good time spinning around, excited to see my friends. And the next moment, I'm being assisted to, like, vomiting over a bridge. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? I must be just sick from drinking so much. And I'm an idiot for drinking so much. So then I go to lay down in my tent. I was probably in there for a good 8 hours and nothing was letting up. I was drinking water and I was just dry heaving. I had a fever, I had cold sweats, and I'm like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've had hangovers before. I've drunk too much before. I've had alcohol poisoning before. Sorry, Mom. Nothing felt as bad as how I felt then. And it was in the middle of the night. It was probably close to 3 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't stop vomiting. And I'm like, I gotta get to a hospital. Like, I'm going to die. And I'm in a tent in the middle of the woods and it's pouring. Like, it's a flash flood outside. There is a river running underneath my tent. I was uncomfortable. I was vomiting and I thought I was gonna die. So I'm thinking in my head, oh, who could I trust that could take me to the hospital that hasn't drank that night? And I'm thinking. And I'm like, my buddy Ren. He doesn't drink. And I'm like, he has to help me because I'm literally gonna die. So I basically crawl over to his tent and I'm like, yo, I sure hope he's decent. And I run in. He's like laying in the middle of the tent like a pharaoh in a coffin. And he's the only person in this 8-person tent, and like he has 2 things, like a fresh pair of underwear and a shield. And I look down at him very just delusional and sick. Hey, Renacles, remember that one time you told me if you feel like you should go to the hospital, you should go? Well, I'm not feeling too great, and I've been vomiting for like ever, and I can't keep anything down, and like, so do you think it would be okay if you could like drive me to the hospital? It's like 20 minutes away. I was actually born in that hospital, so like, yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to though. And we walked the mile of the campground to the parking area, and he puts me in the car, and I'm just sick. I've been vomiting the whole way there, and he takes me to the hospital, and we sit in our sopping wet garb in a very bad ER room. So it was quite the situation, and I was on death's door, basically. Once I get called back, I bid farewell to Ren, I thank him for taking me, and, you know, and I get treated. After, like, being there for, like, a full 4 hours without seeing anybody, the doctor eventually comes in, and he says, okay, we took some tests, and, like, you know, like, we're like, you know, gonna see what's happening, and I'm like, Doc, I know it's probably alcohol poisoning, isn't it? And he's like, actually, there was no alcohol in, like, your system at all. Like, you don't have enough to have alcohol poisoning from all the tests that we saw. So I'm like, really? I'm not an idiot? And I'm like, well, you could be an idiot, but I mean, that's not what he said. Eventually, after a few tests and a few, like, conversations with the doctor, he's like, you know, follow up with your primary, you could have a plum allergy. And I'm like, wow, okay, that could be, like, thanks, doc. And, he sent me off. My cousins came and got me. It was in my hometown, so then bada bing bada boom. I was not well. He gave me nausea medicine because, like, having, like, an allergy to, like, a vegetable or a fruit can be in your system for a few days. I was pretty much, like, set for the whole week of just being down and sick because plums attack. So actually, when leaving the hospital, I was still in garb, but it was unfinished garb. I was just wearing a chitin with, like, modern boots, so I looked like a crazy person lugging around the hospital because I was very ill. But I ended up being so uncomfortable that I left the event a whole, like, 5 days early. I only spent 2 out of, like, the 7 days that I was supposed to be there. It rained the whole time anyway, but oh man, did I miss out. There is no lesson to this story other than I am allergic to plums, and raining while camping isn't the most fun. So, alright, I hope I entertained you guys just a little bit during, like, this trying time. But alright, everybody, like this video if you did, don't if you didn't, subscribe to me, you'll get more of me. Alright, everybody, have a good day, bye-bye!